You just want me to talk? Then you'll ask questions?
Hey,
Matt,
Coach,
you're
can
doing
you?
a bad job of narrating this thing.
Might want to move him closer.
Yeah, Coach, could you move in a little? Yeah.
Oh, he's blurry.
Wait a second. Let me see if I can get this thing fixed. How's that?
Good. I
Better.
think the audio is a little bit better there too.
Yep.
Do we want to just open up with questions, Coach?
Well, after looking at the film of the last game, you know, we played awfully well parts of the first half, very well in the midway point of the second half. And then we just kind of took some bad shots. You know, a couple of those turnovers were bizarre ones because I think we had 3 offensive fouls screening. And, you know, I'm happy we found a way to win. Some teams are finding a way to lose. And I thought we had a great practice today. So hopefully that'll lead to something. We understand what the RAC is like. We know they've beaten some good teams there in Iowa and Purdue, Michigan. So we got our work cut out for us. But at the same time, I think we're going in there ready to play.
All right, we'll go to Chris Solari first.
I wondered about the resolve of this team. I mean, you've had so many close games here in the last 3 weeks or so. What does that do heading into February and March for a team to get that experience in those close games?
You know, I do think it helps. It doesn't help me in the meantime, but I think it'll help us in the future because there is some resolve. They figure out ways to win. It's teaching points on how important is making free throws. I mean, we're leading this conference in free throw shooting and we've needed them in a few games. Last year, maybe we lost some games because we didn't shoot well from the line or we didn't cut out, whichever way you want to look at it. But you have to miss a free throw to cost you on a cutout too. So I think we're learning how to win different ways. I'd like us to win a little more solidly. And that'll be about not turning the ball over. It'll be about getting defensive rebounds and still getting our running game going. That's the one area we haven't done as well of lately.
We'll go next to Kyle Austin.
Yeah, Tom, you've been talking about consistency a lot lately, and I wonder when you do that, are you thinking ahead to March at all as far as getting this team ready to perform it? When is that part of the calculus when you really want to see the consistency?
Well, I'd like to see it now because you have to have it when you get to March. You know, when you play the end of the Big Ten season, you play the Big Ten tournament, you get into the NCAA tournament. You know, if you don't have consistency, you win a game and you go home. You know, I have no interest in that in any tournament we're playing in. So, yes, I'd like to be able to put back-to-back halves together. I'd like to put back-to-back games together. I'd like to finish games a little better than we have. But at the same time, you know, we've used our depth a lot. And I think we're going to be more ready if something goes wrong later on in the year. So, yeah, consistency is what every coach wants. I think it's what every program wants. So, yeah, I'd like to improve that for sure.
Go next to Matt Charbonneau.
Tom, you talked the other night about making sure you fix the offensive rebounding issue. I'm wondering, as you've kind of gone through it and looked at some of the games where it's been a bit of a problem, is there something that's happening that's standing out to you? Is it simply an effort related thing? Or I know there's some bad luck on some long rebounds and stuff, but what exactly are you seeing when you can say, here's the reasons why we're not rebounding the way we should on that end?
Well, we got back to playing our war drill 3 times today. So I do think some of it is my fault. I do think some of it is we aren't physically as tough as we need to be. So we got to get more physical in our cutouts. I do think some, and we've had to make some adjustments. These number of long threes that people are taking, we have had some bounce over our head in fairness, and we really looked at that. But we have to make the adjustment, cut out a little deeper, do things a little different than maybe we've done. And so, you know, we're never ending learning what we got to do. But at the end of the day, I think that you need people with a nose for the ball, and you need people to gain rebound. We kind of rebound in our area, but not outside our area. And so that's why, you know, when you look at us, Field goal percentage defense has been very good. I think we're 2 in the conference, but we're not finishing the job with a rebound. And I think what we used to understand that was very important. I think now we talk about our defense, we talk about our rebounding separately, and defending and rebounding really is the same exact deal. Because if you defend well and you don't get the rebound, you're just defending all over again. So we put some emphasis on it, like we always do, but you know, as I say, you know, what you emphasize is what you get. And you guys should say, well, why don't you emphasize everything? You know, the NCAA and their damn 20-hour rule won't let us do that. So we're doing it the best we can, and we're making some progress. But I think one thing, you know, I've had many people call me, you know, what happened at Maryland? And I just want to keep everything in perspective here, that one guy called me and said, we would have celebrated that win last year. I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm not looking for it either way, but we're not a great team yet. You know, our record shows that we are, but our play hasn't shown that yet. We have the possibility to get to be one if we take care of these problems, but you're not going to go to a Maryland. I don't care what anybody's record is. They have good players, and that's a good team. And we played good enough. We didn't consistent. Played good enough to look great, in fact, if we would have finished the job. So there's a lot of big games coming up, and we got a lot of big games against good teams. This team was 6-4 going into last night's game or the night before, and they lose in overtime. 6 wins. There's not a lot of Big Ten teams. That's more than some Big Ten teams have right now. Meaning some, a lot of the upper half of the league. So keep things in perspective. We got a lot of work to do.
We'll go next to Jared Ramsey from State News.
I was just curious about Rutgers' style of play, kind of like to slow the ball down. What challenges does that present while you're trying to get the transition offense going again?
Well, we think it's going to kind of be a rock fight, you know, guys throwing boulders. I mean, they're a very physical team. They're a big team. You know, they start 6'4", 6'7" at the guards. They have physicality to them. Those Jersey kids are tough kids, and Steve is a really good coach, and I think a really good defensive coach. So, yeah, it's going to be a physical game. What did they beat Iowa 49-48? You know, and they've scored 80-some. So they can do it both ways, but it's not going to be one for the meek and mild. I can promise you that. And whatever that means, we're going to still try to run the ball. But at this time, we're going to try to do it after we rebounded instead of before we rebounded.
We'll go next to Chris Eisman from the Asbury Park Press in New Jersey.
Just in the times that you've obviously, gone up against Rutgers and then watching them from afar, I mean, what have you kind of seen from Paul Mulcahy in the way that he's developed as a player and kind of become a bigger threat for them?
Well, one of my assistants knew Mulcahy, when he was being recruited, and that was a big time recruit for them. I mean, he's a hell of a player. It's not like he's come out of nowhere. He's done a good job for them. They move him around. He plays the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. He's got versatility. I mean, I just love that about the kid. We talk about a tough kid. To me, he's a tough kid. Don't know him personally, but he can beat you in the post. He can back you down. He can shoot a 3. He's got versatility, length, and strength, and toughness. And those are good qualities. And I think Steve probably really appreciates that. Did I see the 31 or 32 points? I really wasn't ready for that. But that's what great players do, is they have their coming out of nowhere parties. And I thought he did that against Northwestern. I'm sure he's going to be feeling good, and he's a load to cover because he can do it so many different ways from so many different positions. I think that's one thing I love about Steve's team. There's many things, but one of the things I love is he's got versatility to move people all around. His best shooter, could be Harper, and yet Baker is You know, I've seen him have unbelievable nights. So he's probably saying the same thing I am. He'd like a little more consistency out of his team. And I feel the same way, so I can sympathize with my friend out there.
Go next to Audrey Dahlgren.
Hey, Tom, we know you're searching for consistency out of your point guards as well, a little bit more maturity out of them too. When Magic did call you the other day, did you happen to relay the message to them, maybe what he said or the suggestions that he had for them to maybe play a little better?
Well, it wasn't play a little better. He sees things better than I do. And he's just so good about it, you know, and always willing to help, always willing to, and he just utters a few words that don't always make sense, you know, take your time a little bit more, be looking up the court a little bit more, you know, come off those ball swings, get downhill a little bit more. But anytime any of those guys like Magic or Cleaves or Draymond or Smitty, you know, those guys, when they speak, I'm like E.F. Hutton, I listen, you know, and I listen, and then I of course I relay it because number one, it's a privilege and an honor that those guys care enough. And number two, sometimes players needed to hear from somebody else other than just the coach. And we've had those guys call our players, they've called them on their own. One of the great things about this place, and I'm blessed with the chance to hear from some of the best, and when that happens, I definitely relay it.
Thank you.
Make decisions. And the last thing I said.
We'll go next to Chris Solari.
Wonder how much you even talk about or bring up last year's game, because obviously it was coming out of the COVID pause, but I think it was 37 points in that game. I mean, do you discuss that with these guys right now?
I think I burned that tape when I got on the airplane. I'm not sure I ever watched it. And I don't mean that in any negative way. It's just that we did not play very well. They did play very well. I mean, I don't know how many understand this guy, to me, is a really, really good coach. Now, he had some injuries and things happen early in the year, and they lost a couple of games, then you lose your confidence. And then, you know, the schedule will dictate a lot of things right now. And confidence is a big part of it. So, no, that's one thing I don't bring up was last year's game for a variety of reasons. The biggest one is we got smacked, and there's no revenge. There's revenge when you lose by 5 and you didn't get a big rebound. When you lose by 100, there's nothing you want to do except destroy the tape, pretend it didn't happen, and leave the state of New Jersey.
You kind of also mentioned it earlier, and obviously last year there were no fans there, but that place can get pretty crazy. How do you, I think you got a few guys that have experienced it, but how do you kind of impart what that is? Did Maryland give you guys a prep for that?
You know, what we'll do is, you know, Wisconsin gave us maybe the best prep for that, but tomorrow we'll add a little music into the practice and try to make it so loud somebody can't hear. If you've been to the rack, it's a great place, man. I love it there. I'd really like to watch games there if I wasn't playing it, to be honest with you. I can get in with that crowd and have some fun, but it is one of the great venues, I think, historically in college basketball. And they have been getting back at it. Now, last year was the COVID year. I haven't been there this year, but everybody I talk to still says, you know, it's getting better and better. And I think they appreciate there's some veterans on this team that I think their fans should appreciate. And you gotta remember one thing about this team, you know, they've shot it up and down a little bit. Again, we've done some things up and down a little bit, but they play hard, man. They play hard and tough. And I think that's what'll make this a very good game.
Time for 2 more. We'll go to Matt Charbonneau and then to Kellen Buddy.
I'm wondering if there's any level of concern right now with Gabe in terms of shooting the ball. And not that, I mean, it feels like there's a couple times, especially in that last game, where it just something looks a little different, a little off, like it's maybe a little flatter than normal. It just doesn't seem like there's that comfortable nature shooting it for him right now. Is that something you guys have talked about or seen on film or working on at all?
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's not getting the lift and not getting the arch on it. You know, he's going through what everybody from, Michael Jordan to Chris Hill to trying to think of the great shooters I've had, Denzel Valentine, Brent Forbes his junior year. I mean, he was shooting it so well and he was so comfortable that I think it's shocking. It's called a little bit of a shooting slump. And the reason I don't worry about it is the same reason I don't with Max. If you got guys that work on it all the time now, could he be working down a little bit, not getting as much lift? That's what happens this time of year too. And that's why I think our depth, that's why I think Pierre, maybe we got to get him a little rest, but thank God today he shot well in practice and Gabe's a worker, he's a grinder. So he'll work his way out of it. But yeah, we talked about it being a little flat. We talked about, shooters are like pitchers, they're like quarterbacks, they're like kickers. They don't make a shot. They sometimes, it gets to some of them. And we just got to give him some confidence. And I know he's back in the gym. He'll be in there tonight and working his way out of it. So nothing else wrong with it. We want him to shoot the ball and he will shoot the ball. And I think he'll shoot the ball well.
We'll wrap it up with one from Kellen Buddy and Fred Human.
Yeah, I don't have a computer, so I'm on Kellen's. One of your players said even before the Michigan game, we were doing less prep on the opponent and more on us. And I'm wondering if that's been the case lately because of the issues and if that's unique to any other season.
Well, we are spending, we have been spending a little more time on us than the opponent because, for a while there, we were playing teams that we've already played once. So the prep wasn't as hard. Then you play a team one time like we have also done. And it's gone back and forth. Today, we spent a little more time on Rutgers. And we try to balance it out with film and these rules, these great rules where we're allowed to play 6 days a week, but we're not allowed to practice on the 7th. So you got to space things out. It makes it a little difficult. And that's one of the things our schedule made a little harder. We played some teams twice already. And now we got a lot of one game preps kind of. Some days they're only going to be 1 day preps. So we got to do both. But we're going to be prepared to play Rutgers. We understand how good they are. We've seen some of the games they played awfully well in. And yet we are trying to work on us a little bit more. So today's practice went 2 hours and 15 minutes. Instead of the normal 2 hours, we cheated, but we didn't go above our 20-hour allotment because I don't want to be thrown in jail.
All right, Coach, that looks like that's all we have for you.
Is that David Sims, the David Sims? What are you doing, man?
What's up, Coach? Good to see you, pal. How are you?
How you been?
Real good, real good. Hey, I'm coming from the Big East. I get to do a Big Ten game. I get to do it with my favorite Paisan. Come on now.
I like it. Well, I look forward to seeing you out there. Just bring that snowblower that you got to the airport so I make sure I get to the bus, all right? All right, guys. I guess my guys are coming in so you can attack them and I'll see you later. Thanks. Stay safe.
Yep.
Travel safe.
We'll have AJ Hoggard and Gabe Brown shortly.
Come on, guys. They're right here. Are they in here together or by themselves?
One at a time, please.
One at a time. All right. All right. Good luck.
All right, we will take questions in the chat for AJ. We'll go first to Chris Solari.
Hey, AJ, I'm wondering, being an East Coast guy, I guess, what do you know about Rutgers program and have you ever been there? I don't know. I think it's probably, I imagine, a couple hours away from you.
Yeah, I've been there before on like an unofficial high school, my sophomore year, when Coach Peckel had first had the job. So I kind of, just from afar, seen the things that he did with the program, turning it around. Seen it before when a couple other guys did that I watched growing up. But other than that, I kind of was just young. Don't know too much about it as I should from just being that way. But I've seen enough, and since Coach Peckel's been there, I've seen how he changed the program and turned it around.
As a follow to that, what did you see from some of the guys that he had there? Because it seems like from when you were being recruited, there was probably a lot of carryover of guys that are still there.
Yeah, some of the guys that were there were like Gio Baker. He's really one of the only guys kind of that was there. Everyone else was kind of upperclassmen when he got the job. Couple guys transferred, like Montez Mathis, he transferred, but those are kind of around Harper. Those are guys who were there when I was on my unofficial and things like that. So those guys were around when I was around, but other than that, it's a lot of new guys.
Go next to Rico Cooney.
Hey AJ, with the style of play that Rutgers has, you can get into some situations where you guys are probably not going to be able to get out as much as you want to. So talk about, I guess, having crispness or more crispness in your half court game.
That was one of our focal points today. Just coming back and watching film and understand how they guard things, how they attack, and how they're aggressive. We just know if we're not able to get out in our running game, we have to be very excellent and very executing in the half court, so we can get something going. That way, it won't always just be a fast break, even on sometimes stops and things of that nature. So we got to be ready to play a half court game and just be ready to execute at all costs.
Thank you.
Go next to Matt Charbonneau.
AJ, overall for this team, Saturday will be your fourth road game out of 5 games, and if you win it in that 5-game stretch, you guys will have gone 4-1 in that. How important is that for this team, especially with the schedule getting tougher as you go from here? But I mean, winning road games like that, keeping you in the Big Ten hunt, how important is it to close out this stretch with this game Saturday?
It's very important. We know how important it is to protect the home court, and we also know how important it is to go on the road and win tough games. Going into a tough environment like the RAC, it's going to be a fist fight. So we just got to come ready, prepare, and just try to get our 4th win on the road, come out with a win, and do everything we know how to help get us that win.
Go next to Dalton Shetler.
Hey, AJ, wanted to ask you about you and Tyson Walker. I saw the stat that you have 100 assists on the season and 48 turnovers. Tyson has also 100 assists on the season and 49 turnovers. And you guys are producing literally just about mirror image in terms of numbers. Can you talk about how unique it is to have you 2 point guards who are producing this well, a better assist to turnover ratio than 2-to-1, but you two play kind of differently at that point guard spot? Like, how unique is this?
It's very unique. We kind of consider ourselves a two-headed monster. One comes in, the other goes in. We just kind of come in and feed off each other's energy and just try to bring good energy to the team and do whatever we can to help our guys get shots, find our shooters, find our bigs rolling, and just do what we have to do to help us win. Us being aggressive, getting downhill and kicking out and doing things of that nature leads to us having assists. So we just try to come in, do our job to a T, kind of feed off one another. We give each other pointers when we see things from the bench from one another. So it kind of just helps us to go a long way because we're 2 guys that could potentially be playing a lot of minutes and just kind of just feeding off each other because it goes both ways. He helps me, I help him. So just us taking care of the ball. We strive on not turning the ball over. We strive on assists. We kind of have a little assist competition each game. So it's just fun.
And then we'll go next to Chris Solari.
How much has the last couple weeks done in terms of team building when you have close games like you've had? And where do you feel like this team's resolve is in close games right now?
Us being in tough games, we know the Big Ten, how tough it is. We know each game can be a dogfight, no matter what people's records are. It's just one of those type of conferences. So we kind of want to come out and give our best shot from the beginning, but we know it can go either way. So I just see in the last couple of games that we've been in close-knit games, it brought a lot out of us. It showed us how tough we can be when we need to be. Just giving us adversity before down the road is going to always be helpful for us. But I mean, it's just tough. With the team, we just kind of keep fighting, feed off each other, talk a lot about it, and just continue to grow in those type of situations. Those moments don't define us; they help us grow. So those close-knit games help us grow along. It's going to go a long way.
All right, AJ, that appears to be everything we have for you. If you can, thank you for coming. If you can pass the torch off to Gabe.
Gotcha.
And for the record, I've been going to games at the RAC since 1992. Sophomore year at St. Bonaventure.
Go there, go talk.
Place does rock, Max. It rocks, you know.
I know, Dave.
Where I go? Where I go?
Gabe, come into the chair forward there.
Y'all can
Right
see
there.
me?
Yep.
Oh, there we go. I'm right there.
Yeah, there you go, Gabe. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna go first to Kyle Austin.
Hey, Gabe, when you look at tape of your shooting these last 4 or 5 games, is there anything you see different as far as your shot, as whether it's mechanics or trajectory that you're looking to try to fix, or is it the ball just not falling for you right now?
I would say I haven't felt right in the past couple of weeks just shooting the ball. It's just I've been shooting it flat. I haven't been shooting it up, but I've been constantly working on it morning, noon, and night. Work on it probably about 3 to 4 times a day. I'm just trying to get myself out of whatever I'm going through. But one thing about me, I'm gonna forever stay confident in my shooting. Like that's something that I have with me all the time. So I stay confident every time.
Go next to Matt Charbonneau.
Gabe, is that something you can feel during games that maybe, your first couple shots don't feel right and you can make an adjustment on the fly, or how much does film work and all that help you after the fact?
I can make adjustments on the fly. I mean, that's one thing about being a shooter, and especially with me, of how much I work on it. I can make adjustments on the fly. So if I don't hit my first couple shots, I know the next time I shoot it, I can change it up. I can switch it up of how I shoot it, get my feet set different ways, things like that.
Go next to Chris Solari.
Gabe, I'm wondering, how much did you put last year's game in the past at Rutgers, and just how strange was that environment to coming off that break to play in that one?
Well, I didn't play last year. I didn't play at Rutgers last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Came back the game after.
That's right.
I haven't played at Rutgers since my freshman year. So, but watching it, I put that game behind us because I was still watching. I still am part of it. So I put that game behind us. It's a new slate for me, and I just want to go out there and get a good win.
As a follow to that, a lot of these guys that are still on Rutgers' team have been there for quite a while. I guess, what do you see from their veteran group?
Great guys, good skilled guys. They stuck around throughout the whole process. They have a good coaching staff, and they brought guys along, and they got good leadership. So it's gonna be a good game, and I'm just happy for that team.
Go next to Rico Cooney.
Hey, Gabe, when you're looking at a team like Rutgers, and I asked AJ a little bit about this, I'll follow up with you on it. You guys might not be able to get out as much and run with a team like Rutgers. So talk about, I guess, making sure you got good ball security in your half court offense.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one. But we're just gonna try to focus on us and focus on what we got going on, especially our offense. Want to focus on being strong with the ball, taking care of the ball, limiting our turnovers, and just playing Michigan State basketball.
Go next to Stephen Brooks and then to Matt Charbonneau.
Hey, Gabe, earlier when you were talking about your shooting and trying to fix things there, is there anything, I know I'm not trying to shift the blame. I know you're saying it's on you, but is there anything you think the coaches or your teammates can do to maybe help you, whether it's where you get the ball or the way you're being used or anything? Again, I know it's, sort of comes down to you, but is there anything else that other folks you think can do to sort of maybe speed that up or help you out with that?
My coaches and my teammates have been doing an unbelievable job of just helping me throughout the whole thing that I've been going through with my shooting. But they just know I'm gonna keep on shooting. I'm gonna stay confident. But only thing I need for them is just to encourage me, and I'm gonna encourage them at the end of the day. That's all I need. And once that is going, I know I can hit more and more shots.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Matt Charbonneau.
Gabe, along those lines again, it feels like in the past, so much of your game depended on your shooting, but now we see in your senior year here, it seems like you understand too that rebounding, defense, all those things matter as well, and it hasn't seemed to affect the rest of your games. Do you think that's been a big step you've taken, that you understand you can contribute other ways even if the shot's not falling?
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to put everything all in my shooting. I know I've been a shooter my whole career here, but now that I'm in a different position, I try to I try to focus on everything, every aspect of the game, defensively, offensively, cheering my teammates on, leadership. I just want to do it all. I just want to be great at every aspect of the game.
And then we'll got two more for you, Gabe. We'll go to Chris Solari and then wrap it up with Audrey Dahlgren.
Guys are at the midway point of the Big Ten season, and you're right there in the hunt for a Big Ten title. I think it's 5 home, 5 on the road. What needs to happen over the next 10 games to win a Big Ten title for this team?
I would say the commitment and just staying locked in. That's my main goal. I want to win a Big Ten championship. I mean, I haven't got one in what has been 2 years, 1 year, 2 years. So I just want to go out there. I just don't want to leave nothing behind. I just want to go out there and have fun, enjoy the ride, and just win games and win a Big Ten.
All right, we'll wrap it up with Audrey Dahlgren.
My question's a little similar, I guess, to Chris's, but you guys are starting to separate yourself in the conference. And so how do you continue to make sure that you separate yourself towards this back half of the schedule?
Guys just gotta stay locked in. This is low key good for us. We got great games coming up against great teams. So we just gotta stay locked in, stay focused on us, stay focused on Michigan State basketball. Everything else will handle itself.
All right, Gabe, that's everything we got. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, everybody. If anybody missed the recording, as long as I didn't screw anything up, I should have a recording I can send everybody later on. Meantime, thank you. Hopefully we'll be back to normal next week.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Max.
Max.
Thanks, Max.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Max.
everybody.
Safe travels, everyone.
Thanks, Max.
Be well.